The missing exam paper. Hello everyone. Let me tell you about something strange that happened at Sunrise Secondary School. It all started on a very stressful morning. The students of Form 3 were about to take their mathematics exam. Everyone looked nervous. Some students were flipping through their notes one last time. Some were whispering formulas to themselves. And some had already given up. But one student looked calmer than everyone else. His name was Brian. Brian was known as the smartest student in the class. Whenever teachers asked difficult questions, Brian always had the answer. But on this particular morning, something unusual happened. Their math teacher, Mrs. Njeri, walked into the classroom with a serious expression. She placed her bag on the desk and looked around. Then she said something that made every student freeze. "Class, the exam papers are missing." The room exploded with whispers. "Missing? How can exams disappear? Did someone steal them?" Mrs. Njeri raised her hand for silence. "The papers were in my office yesterday," she said. "But this morning, they are gone." Now the class was even more nervous. If someone had stolen the exam papers, it meant one thing. Someone might have cheated. Mrs. Njeri looked around the classroom carefully. "No one will leave until we figure out what happened." Suddenly, the exam was no longer the biggest problem. The mystery was. Minutes passed. Students looked at each other suspiciously. Then one student raised his hand. Of course, it was Brian. "Teacher," he said calmly, "may I say something?" Mrs. Njeri nodded. Brian stood up. "I think the papers were not stolen," he said. The class looked confused. "Then where are they?" someone whispered. Brian continued. "Yesterday after class, I went to the staff room to return a calculator." Mrs. Njeri looked surprised, and she asked, "I saw the wind blowing through an open window," Brian said. "The papers on the desk started flying everywhere." The class leaned forward. "I helped stack them back," Brian continued, "but I remember some papers sliding behind the cabinet." Mrs. Njeri quickly left the classroom. Everyone waited. 30 seconds passed, then 1 minute. Finally, Mrs. Njeri returned, and in her hands were the missing exam papers. The whole class gasped. Brian had been right. Mrs. Njeri smiled. "Well, class," she said, "mystery solved." The students laughed in relief. But then Brian raised his hand again. "Teacher," he said carefully, "now we still have the real problem." Mrs. Njeri raised an eyebrow. "What problem?" Brian sighed. "We still have to write the math exam." The entire class groaned, and just like that, the mystery was over. But the real challenge had just begun. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. And tell me in the comments, what is the strangest thing that ever happened in your school? I'll see you in the next story.